Hello and welcome to Jason Plays Ancient Games. We recently played through live on stream Heroes Quest 1, So You Want to Be a Hero, also known as Quest for Glory. And since we got maximum number of points for our thief/hybrid playthrough, thought it might be worth providing this guide for all the points we accumulated throughout the run. Kind of like the SATs, your first point is going to come just from getting through the character creation process. So as soon as you enter the gate and start talking to the sheriff, you get to start with 1 point. Asking the sheriff about brigands will score another point, so don't forget to do that while you're here. Then you pretty much never need to talk to him again. If you enter the inn to the left of the sheriff and ask the innkeeper about the inn, you'll get 1 more point and learn a little bit about what's to come in Quest for Glory 2. Once you enter the magic shop that's to the left of the inn, you can ask the shopkeeper about the symbol on the floor to unlock 1 more point. I'm sure you can ask about a million other things too, magic related, and you'll probably get the same point. Next stop will be the Adventurers Guild, all the way to the left of this part of town. When you go in, you'll want to read the book to get 4 points. Then, of course, you can sign it yourself with a flourish to score an additional point. You can then walk on over to the big board where you will find all the quests that you'll track and kind of guide your progress throughout the game. And that'll earn you 6 more points. And then walk down to the guild master and ask him about the guild. He will talk a whole bunch, but you'll get a point out of it. If you turn around and head towards the other side of town, you'll encounter a centaur in her produce stand. Ask her about her fruit, and you'll get another point. You're going to need those apples later. From the dry goods store, you can ask the shopkeeper about equipment to get 1 more point, though you might have to bother him a few times to make him put down his book first. If you head further to the left and into the alley there, you can get 2 points from the beggar who's there. 1 for giving him his silver piece, and a 2nd point for asking about brigands, which is a pretty common source of points throughout this game. Your next point will be just for exiting town. I guess if there was an achievement, this would be touching grass. If you head north from the town gates, you'll get to the most useful area in this game, which is the healer's hut. The next point you can get here has to do with the nest that you see there. If you climb the tree, look at the nest, you'll see a ring, which you might remember from the quest board. You can get the ring and come back and climb down the tree. You might need to climb a bunch of times to get enough skill to make it up there. You might need more agility in order to not fall. If you're not a thief, you can use the fetch spell for magic user, or you can throw rocks at the nest to knock it down and get the ring. But anyway you slice it, get that ring, and that'll get you some points. Head on into the healer's hut and ask her about potions in order to score 2 more points. Then, of course, give her the ring, and you'll get a whopping 10 points for that, along with some smooches. Off to the left, you'll find another centaur, which is the father of Fruit Centaur. If you ask him about the town, it will yield a point. And if you ask him about the brigands, more specifically the brigand leader, you'll be rewarded with 3 more points. If you head back to the right and up towards the castle, you can talk to Carl, the gatekeeper, who you'll probably talk to a lot, opening and closing the gate. But first, make sure to ask him about Elsa or daughter or Baroness. I don't know. There's a few nouns you can use, but you'll get 5 points to hear about what turns out to be one of the main plot lines of the game. Ask Carl to open the gate, head on into the castle courtyard for 1 more point. When you see the weapons master practicing in the courtyard, make sure to ask him about lessons. Oddly enough, you get a point for asking, but not 1 for actually doing a lesson, though I do recommend taking the lessons. Also, head over to the right to the stable, and when asked if you're looking for work, say yes. You'll get a fun animation. You'll get 5 gold, 5 silver, and more importantly, get 5 points. When nighttime comes, head back to town, though you may need to climb the wall if the gate is closed. Head to the back by the tavern and into the alley. you'll see a flashing coin, which when you approach, you'll get jumped by thieves. However, since you are a thief, you can make the thief sign to earn your freedom and 3 points, plus the password to the Thieves Guild. If you go into the tavern and give the password to the big ogre-looking guy, you'll get 5 points and entry into the Thieves Guild. Finally, joining the guild itself will net you 3 more points. Finally, to end the night, head back to the inn and notice Abdullah sitting there, the merchant friend of the Katas. Sit down, order food, and ask Abdullah about the robbery for 5 more points. Once your food arrives, give it to him for 2 points, as well as some additional info. After he's done talking, you can stand up, go to the innkeeper, and pay for a room for 1 more point. The next morning, sit back down at the table, order some food, and this time eat it yourself to get 1 more point. At some point in the day, you may notice Boris playing with a knife out in front of the town gate. Try to interact with him. He'll want some money. Give him a silver and ask him a question or two. And when you leave, he'll tell you to try the dragon's breath. Absolutely do not do that, but you'll get some points for the exchange. If you head down and to the right from the town gate, you'll come across a waterfall with a door nearby. You can climb the rocks, easily climb the rocks, up to the door, give it a knock for 1 point. And when you move away from the door, make sure you move to the right to avoid getting clobbered when it opens. That will net you 5 more points. And when you go inside and chat with Henry the Hermit, ask him about his cave for 2 more points, or probably any other topic. He just likes to talk to another living being every once in a while. I also asked Henry for the trigger scroll, which oddly enough doesn't give any points, probably because I'm not a magic user. I'm a thief hybrid. Anyway, head back to the left and down towards the lake, which oddly enough does give you 1 point. As you explore the woods, you'll eventually come across a white stag that you see, which will run off to the left. And if you follow it, you will encounter the Dryad. When you approach a large tree in a peaceful area, the Dryad will ask you if you are one with the woods, and if you say yes, you'll get 1 point. Relatively close to the Dryad and south of the goblins is a circle of purple mushrooms. These are the fairy mushrooms that the healer has asked for, so you can net 3 points by grabbing a handful and grab 2 more to sell to the healer. Further north is a strange hut on chicken legs guarded by a skull, several skulls. However, the main skull would like a glowing gem so that it can have glowing eyes. If you accept this quest, you will get 2 points. After some more exploring, you'll come across plants shooting a strange seed, the seed that the Dryad has asked for. You can climb the rocks in the middle and catch seed to wait for the seed to fly into your hands and get 8 points for your trouble. There are other ways to solve this puzzle, including the fetch spell, but this is the recommended method for the thief. To the far north is Uranus Peace, where you can grab some flowers, the calm spell, and earn 2 points by eating fruit from the tree, which will also satisfy your hunger for the rest of the day. You can then head to the healers and sell the mushrooms that you got for 1 point, as well as the flowers that you just picked for 1 point. Since you have the seed that the Dryad requested, you can return back to her and return it to her for 7 points, thus confirming yourself as a friend of the forest. She'll issue you the quest to make a Dispel Potion, which you have some of the ingredients already. But one of the missing ingredients is a magic acorn, which she gives you immediately, and you can pick it up for 1 point. If you go up and to the left, you'll find an area with a lot of rocks on the ground with little Muppets popping in and out of them, the Meeps. You can talk to them to initiate a conversation with the Green Meep. You can earn a point by asking about fur, then ask him for green fur. You may as well ask him for a scroll too. And when you're done talking to him, pick up the fur for 5 more points. If you return to the mushroom circle at nighttime, you'll find that there are many fairies there, and they'll talk to you and ask you to dance. If you agree to dance for them, you'll get 3 points, and then you'll put on a show. At the end of the show, you can ask for fairy dust. You'll get 1 point for asking for the dust, and then once you get it, provided you have an empty flask to put it in, you'll get 8 more points. Do be careful not to walk inside the circle of mushrooms, or at least save before you do if you want to see an interesting sequence. Since it's nighttime and you are a thief, it's time to head into town to do some thieving. To the left of the gate is the old lady's house. You saw her sleeping out front. Pick the lock. You might have to pick it several times in order to build enough skill to open it. But once you unlock it, you should get 5 points for illegally entering this house. You can grab those candlesticks for a point. You can search the basket for pearls for a point, search the couch for some silvers for a point, and search the drawer on the left for a point. While you're here, make sure you pet the cat for 3 points. If you feel like saving your game, there are lots of interesting ways to lose in this room too, particularly with the cat. On the other side of town, you can also pick the lock on the sheriff's house, getting 5 points for entering there. Then once inside, you get 1 point each for getting the music box, searching the desk, getting the candelabra, picking up the vase, moving the portrait, uncovering the safe, picking the lock on the safe, and taking the bag of coins from the safe. I like to close the safe and replace the portrait, but that's just for fun. You don't get any points for that. There are also a lot of fun ways to end your game in this house, especially by going in the other rooms and making noise and stuff. Just make sure you save your game first. If you take your stolen loot to the Thieves Guild, you can fence it for 3 points, and of course, plenty of money, and play game with the leader for 3 points. Since we've collected several of the components for the Dispel Potion, you can earn some points by turning those into the healer. 2 points for the fairy dust, 5 points for the acorn, 2 points for the green fur. In my playthrough, I don't have the flying water yet, so I'll cover those points later. When you have enough money and strength to carry 5 sets of apples, you can buy those for 3 points. When you come across a fox in the woods, you can free him from the trap that he's in for 10 points, along with some free advice that he'll give you as a reward. Bring those 50 small apples that you bought over to the super badass frost giant way off to the right, and you'll get 8 points along with a glowing gem. You can earn 3 points by getting the, quote, flying water from the waterfall to the down and to the right of town, and 2 points for giving that to the healer. When you return to the healer the next day, you'll get 7 more points along with the Dispel Potion. If you go back to Baba Yaga's hut, you can give the skull the glowing gem for 10 points. He'll grant you access to the hut itself. Say the rhyme, hut of brown, now sit down for 7 points. And finally get 2 more points for entering the hut. Just to make sure you're standing far enough back when you say the rhyme, otherwise you'll get squashed by the hut. Once midnight hits, you'll want to head to the graveyard, enter from the top, and quickly grab the Mandrake root for 6 points before escaping back up and out of the graveyard before the ghost can kill you. Bring that root back to Baba Yaga, and you'll get 3 more points and a cutscene. Once you're leveled up enough, you can take on one of the main quests for this game. To the right of Arena's Peace is a cave. You may need to fight the ogre to get in, though at least as a thief you won't get points for it. Inside is a bear. If you get close, I recommend sneaking. You can get close and feed it for 5 points, which will calm it down. Then you can walk to the right, which will get you 2 more points. You'll see a kobold, and if you sneak up to it, you can get the key around his neck for 7 points. And if you go back to the left and unlock the manacle that's keeping the bear prisoner, you'll get 25 points and accomplish one of the main quests by freeing the baronet. I like to go back to the right and kill the kobold. It's fun, but you don't get any points for it. Since you've rescued royalty and completed one of the main quests on the quest board, head over to the castle and you'll actually get to go inside this time to some fanfare. Collect 10 points. Make sure you ask about brigands for 3 more points while talking to the Baron, and collect a lot of money. Meanwhile, back at the tavern, if you head back there in town, you'll notice a crumpled piece of paper by the center stool. Pick it up and read the note and earn yourself 2 points. At this point in the game is when I finally killed a cheetar and ended up with some cheetar claws, which I gave to the healer for 2 points, but you can do this anytime. Per the tavern note, go to the archery range at noon, entering from the side, and overhear a conversation between Brutus and Bruno for 12 points. You'll then need to leave the area, come back into the center, and fight Brutus to get the key. Just be careful when you leave, because Bruno may throw daggers at you and kill you immediately. Similar to the cheetar claws, anytime you manage to kill a troll, make sure you get its beard and give it to the healer for 2 points and 2 healing potions. Since we're running a hybrid build, we can get some points for visiting Erasmus. Head to the right of the healers, and you'll find Erasmus' house up on a kind of a mountain, and you'll have to answer some questions at a gargoyle to get inside. If he asks you what the thief's password is, make sure to tell him you don't know, because he doesn't want to let a thief inside. And once you're in, you'll get 3 points. If you head upstairs to meet Erasmus, assuming you have all the necessary spells, you can get 5 points for agreeing to play Mage's Maze. I'm not going to go into how to beat this game. I'm sure there's plenty of guides online, or you can watch the full playthrough if you want to see the gory details for my approach. But if you win, you'll get 12 points. Also, don't forget to ask Erasmus about himself for 1 additional point. Like the Avengers, we are in the end game now. It's time to head to the Antwerp in the south. There's a weird-looking rock on the left, and you can use the key from Brutus to open the rock for 10 points. Say the password hide and go seek for 5 more points, then enter the cave for 2 points. You can go fight Fred and get some gold to the left if you want, but there's no points for it, at least not for a thief. If you exit the cave near the Minotaur, make sure you're sneaking and sneak all the way to the right and climb the wall to enter the Brigand Fortress for 8 points. You'll earn 8 points for making your way across the Brigand Courtyard, which you can do by going to the left, crossing the bridge on the right, and finally stepping over the rope near the top. Getting through the next room will get you another 8 points, and this one's pretty fun, but there's some timing involved, so we'll just let the whole thing play out. First, you'll need to close the door behind you, then go up and push the chair in front of the door to the right. Push the candles to block the brigands that are approaching you from behind the table, and then head just below the table, wait until the brigands are coming around the other end, then climb the table, which will automatically have you grab the rope, swing across, knock down the brigands, not close the door on the left, the chandelier will fall and trap the brigands, then you can open the door to the top and proceed. The next room could probably also use some explanation. Here's where you will finally find Yorick, the warlock. First thing, ask him about Elsa to gain 10 points and convince him that you're also trying to help her. Move over to the right, and you'll end up, you need to fall down one of these pits. You'll come sliding out a door on the right, or that little cubby. Stop yourself, and you'll slide to a stop before you fall down again. If you enter that door on the bottom right, you'll be able to pull a chain, which should open the door on the top right. Go back the way you came, head up through that upper right door, and you'll wind up over on the left. Try to open the fake clicking door, but as soon as you try, head back into the doorway you came through, because that fake door is going to fall down and squash you if you don't. After it's fallen, go back, walk on top of it, open the real door, and proceed through for 12 points. This last room is fortunately pretty easy. As soon as you get control of the keyboard, use the Dispel Potion on the Brigand Leader, leading to a massive 35 points. She'll turn back into Elsa, be reunited with Yorick, give you some insight into what's going on. They'll mention that they can teleport away, but you'll need to make your escape through a secret passageway. But Yorick will first mention a magic mirror that you can use to counter the cursor. So grab the mirror off of the desk for 10 points. You might as well grab the 2 healing potions that Elsa mentioned as well. Then you have to kind of make your way over to the right behind that chest. It's a little tight, but that's the final escape from the Bergen Fortress. The very last thing to do is return to Baba Yaga's hut. Hut of Brown, now sit down to open it, enter the hut, and before you move or do anything else, as soon as you get inside, hold the mirror. That's it. That'll be the end of the game. Baba Yaga will try to turn you into a frog. The mirror will reflect the spell back at her. She will kick you out of her hut. She will fly away. You'll get a lot of points, and you'll be up to 502. And this is the very end of the game. So I'm sure there are some points that I missed. I know it said I got the maximum, and the game tells me I got the maximum. In fact, more than the maximum. But I know some of those points came from the magic user path. So let me know what I missed in the comments. I did this all from memory. I didn't look anything up online, or I think I probably still have a hint book for this. So yeah, like I say, I'm sure there's things I missed. Leave notes in the comments. I hope you enjoyed it. I will absolutely be streaming Quest for Glory 2 at some point in the very near future. If I manage to get a very good score, maybe I'll put out another one of these compilations. Check out the link to the full playthrough in the description if there's anything else you'd like to see, and we will see you next time. Enjoy the rest of the credits.